You are enjoying your focused leading edge perspective. Good word, focused. You said, I want to go forth into this leading edge perspective where the variety will help me conclude naturally personal preference. Can't help that, can you? You just cannot help but perceive from your perspective and conclude. You just can't help it. Everything in the universe is oriented toward this vantage point where you stand. So as you stand here and interact with others and observe what's happening around you and remember what has happened, as you are chewing on all of this magnificent data, you come to personal preferences constantly. And every time you do, whether you speak about it, whether you think about it, whether you are consciously aware of it, or whether it is just a preference that is born within you that you don't spend that much time using, every preference is understood by Source, heard clearly, and responded to fully. So when you ask, no matter how loudly, no matter how softly, no matter how verbally, no matter how silently, when you ask, it is always given every single time. Step 1, step 2. You ask, it is given. This gathering is about the part that really is the reason that we are having this gathering. The third part is about you finding a way to be aware of what your vibrational countenance is so that you can deliberately match up with the vibration of your desire. Now that sounds very simple. You see, when you ask, it is always given. But in order for you to receive it fully, for it to manifest in some way that is known by you, in order for you to live it, you must be a vibrational match to what you're asking for, which sounds simple, and yet many of you don't do it. In other words, let's say that you're sick, you don't know how you got there, and it doesn't matter. And out of that contrasting experience, you know really clearly, more clearly than ever before, that you want wellness. So what is emanating from you in this very powerful, very wonderful, contrasting experience is a clearer, louder than ever desire for wellness. But if you are talking to your friends about how sick you are, you're not a match to the wellness you're asking for. If you're trying to figure out why you got sick, if you're explaining how long you've been sick, if you're getting together with others who are sick and trying to justify your sickness along with theirs by trying to point out the cause of the sickness or finding some blame for the sickness, in every moment that you are even focused upon the fact that you are sick, you are not a vibrational match to being well. Now that's the tricky part, isn't it? How can I be in the middle of not enough money and be a match to money? How can I be in the middle of a relationship that is painful or not satisfying and change that relationship to something more meaningful or find another one that is? And we say, you can't. It's just that simple. You cannot focus upon one thing and let another thing in any more than you can set your radio dial for 98.6 and receive what's being transmitted from 101 FM. You got to match up those signals. So you have this wonderful mechanism within you called your emotions or emotional guidance system that helps you know if you're matching up. Better said, it helps you know what you're matching up to. If you don't feel good, in other words, if you're feeling anger or blame or fear or guilt or any of those emotions that you would call negative emotions, what you're matching up to isn't what you want. If you're feeling joy and appreciation, love, enthusiasm, passion, any of those emotions that feel good, in that moment of that feeling, you are lining up with who you are and what you want. Your emotions really give you two significant readings. The direction of your attention, in other words, wanted or unwanted, which is noted by whether it feels good or whether it feels bad. And the degree of your emotion lets you know the power of the energy that you are summoning or the power of your desire. In other words, if you sort of want something and you're lined up with it, you'll feel sort of happy. If you really want something and you're lined up with it, you're going to feel wonderful. You're going to feel so excited, so much enthusiasm. You'll feel true passion. When you're lined up with something you really, really want, it feels really, really good. And on the other end of that stick, if you are focused upon the absence of something you really, really want, you're going to feel really, really bad. That's why when someone you adore hurts your feelings, it really, really hurts. Because you really, really, really want something really, really different than what you're really, really getting. But the tricky thing is, you keep thinking they should behave differently so that you could feel better. It's easy to say, I would feel better if that condition would change. And we don't disagree with you. We know that it does feel good to look at good conditions. It feels good to look at what you want. We also know that when you look at what you don't want, you cannot attract what you do want. Just like when you look at what you do want, you cannot attract what you don't want. So the key to deliberate creating is really your focus. It's really about turning your attention toward that which you are wanting. The key to deliberate creation is knowing that you are focusing mechanisms and that whatever you are giving your attention to, here it is. Whatever you are giving your attention to, here it is. Whatever you are giving your attention to, you ready? Is activated in your vibration. Whatever you are giving your attention to is activated in your vibration. That's the most important thing that you will ever hear from us or anyone else. It's activated in your vibration. And when you activate something in your vibration, you can't line up with something else. So you have to ask yourself, am I activating my vibration around sickness, or am I activating it around wellness? Am I activating it around not enough money, or am I activating it around enough money? And we say, whatever it is that you are most often giving your attention to is what you are activating now, and the more often you activate it, then the more dominant it becomes in your vibration, until the path of least resistance is known. Now this is really important. We haven't talked about this path of least resistance in this way. And as you listen to it here today, you're going to have entirely new insight about it, because law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. Now think about that. That says if I have often activated a thought about a declining physical body, and I've done it so often because I watch television, they show me those commercials, I'm interacting with someone I love who is declining, and so I'm aware of it. I've joined the groups that are getting together to try to push against that and eliminate it from the planet. In other words, I am activating within my vibration those things that do not feel so good. And as I activate it now and now and now and now and now and now and now, as I see the commercial, as I talk to my friend, as I call my mother, as I talk to different people, as I activate it now and now and now, before I know it, without even knowing it, law of attraction has brought more thoughts like that to me, until that thought that just was a flimsy little thought that I activated here and there has become a dominant vibration within me. And when something becomes the dominant vibration within you, then it becomes your reality. So what we're wanting you to begin to understand is, first of all, you have plenty of leeway, and it doesn't matter what's activated now, because you can activate something of your choosing later. But the thing that we really want you to hear is, whatever your vibrational proclivity is, that's where law of attraction is taking you, which means that is your path of least resistance. So we have to say to you, for some people, in fact a whole lot of people, especially in this continent where you are watching the television in the way you are, for a whole lot of people, physical decline is the dominant vibration within you. It's what you expect. It's not what we expect for you. It's not the way it is supposed to be. It is not the way it has to be. It is not the way it always is. It's just the way most people have let it become in their vibration, because they have not deliberately fostered and activated on purpose other thoughts. Now, the reason that we're talking to you about this path of least resistance is because you all are beginning to understand the power of law of attraction in your environment. Law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. So if you lived in a household where somebody really believed something and they talked about it often, and every time they talked about it, you talked about it too, until you sort of by osmosis or by attention to the subject got that thing activated within you, then you start living the same manifestations that they did, and all of you get together and say, yep, this is just the way we knew it was. And we say, it's not the way it is, it's not the way it must be, it is the way you are oriented in your vibration, and so law of attraction is giving it to you, but it is not the truth that has to be. It is just the truth that you are creating. Sometimes we start by saying, which would you choose, what feels good or what feels bad? And you say, oh, we would choose what feels good. And we say, well, would you choose something that is true or something that is untrue? And you say, well, we've learned that we would choose that which is true. That seems like a better choice. And then we say, but do you choose what feels good or what is true? And many of you, because you've been listening to us for a while, say, oh, Abraham, we choose what feels good. We choose what feels good. And we say, we hear your words, but we read your vibration. And we have noticed that oftentimes you choose what you believe is the truth. In other words, you are historical maniacs. You gather information from the past and you regurgitate it in your now, and you tell it to your children as if it has anything to do with them. You put up monuments that celebrate horrific experiences, and you parade into them and look at them, and you say to each other, if we do not give our attention to history, our history will repeat itself. And we say, when you give your attention to your history, it is sure to repeat itself. You cannot keep that stuff you do not want activated without living it again and again and again and again and again. You said, I will come forth into this physical environment and I will give my attention to that which feels good. I will line up with the current of my source and I will live joyously ever after. You said, I know that I am an eternal being. I will never get it done. There is no big rush, and that any now moment, which is where all of my power is, it exists for the purpose of my satisfying experience of aligning with the essence of who I truly am and living in this moment. Joy is your quest. The basis of your experience is utter and absolute freedom. Joy is what you are always reaching for. It is what we are always reaching for. And as you let joy be your quest, then you will live this expanded, joyful experience that you have intended. Now, you'll expand anyway. In other words, you cannot help but experience motion forward, because the contrast that you live, and by contrast, we are not saying conflict, although it might be. We're not talking about horrible and wonderful, although it might be. We're talking about the variety that you see around you. And as you live this variety, it gives birth to desires within you. And when a desire is born within you, Source hears it and answers it. The only question is, are you letting it in? We've been talking recently, and Esther has found some words that we think are wonderful. Rather than trying to make so much happen, let it happen. Instead of trying so hard to make it happen, let it be. Let it happen, because your asking has set it into motion. Source is responding. Let it be. So the art of allowing is about letting the good stuff in. The art of allowing is about recognizing, here's the premise you have to start with. There is only a source of well-being, which you are letting in or not. There's not a source of sickness, although you might pinch off wellness and give it that label. There's not a source of evil, although you might pinch off that which you consider to be good and give it that label. There's not a source of darkness. You say, the sun came up this morning. You don't say, the big blob came up and brought the darkness. You understand that there is the source of light. There is a source of well-being. There is a source of that which is good. There is the source which is that which is you. You are pure positive energy expressing in these physical bodies, here to have a glorious experience. You did not come forth to fix something that is broken, because nothing is broken. Any more than the new chef that creates a new recipe is trying to rid the world of nasty things to eat. You did not come forth to eradicate this planet from anything. You came forth to be a vortex through which the energy that creates worlds flows in a pure way through you. You are a creative genius, here to focus that energy in a way that pleases you. And in that which pleases you, you please all that is. All that is pleased whether you are or not, however. We are not waiting around for you to get happy. In order to be happy, don't do it for us. You don't owe us anything. We're doing just fine. This gathering is not about fixing things that are broken or cleaning anything up. This gathering is about you deliberately getting into alignment with the energy of well-being, which is you. You are worthy beings with so much potential, and you are doing extremely well.